Have you ever stood in your kitchen in the morning, cracked an egg into the frying pan, and thought to yourself, is this really the best I can do for my muscles at this age? For decades, eggs have been painted as the gold standard for building strength, and they certainly have their place. But here's the truth most doctors never say out loud. If you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, you don't have to rely on eggs alone to keep your muscles strong. In fact, there are 7 other foods, all inexpensive and all easy to find in any American grocery store, that can rebuild muscle, restore energy, and protect your independence just as powerfully, sometimes even more. Eggs are good, yes, but they're not the only option. And they're not always the most practical choice when you're living on a budget, watching cholesterol, or simply tired of eating the same thing every day. The exciting news is that with the right cheap foods, you can still fuel your body to stay strong at 70, 75, 80, and beyond. And today I'm going to show you exactly how. Let's start by talking about why this matters. Americans over 60 face a challenge that few talk about openly. It's not just gray hair, wrinkles, or slower mornings. It's something called sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle that creeps up year after year. By the time you're 70, the average person has lost nearly 1/3 of their muscle mass. Think about that. If your car lost 1/3 of its horsepower, you'd notice the difference every time you press the gas pedal. The same thing happens to your body. Suddenly, climbing stairs feels harder. Getting out of a chair takes effort. Carrying groceries leaves you winded. And the real danger is not just inconvenience. Weak muscles are the #1 predictor of falls, hospital stays, and the loss of independence. That's the reality facing millions of Americans right now. But the hopeful part, the part I want you to hold on to, is that muscle loss is not inevitable. You can fight it, slow it down, and even reverse it with the right foods. And you don't need expensive powders, fancy supplements, or costly meal plans. The answers are already in your grocery store, sitting on the shelves, waiting to be chosen. The first cheap food I want you to picture isn't exotic at all. It's beans. Pinto beans, black beans, navy beans, kidney beans, doesn't matter which. Beans are one of America's oldest, most reliable staples. For a few dollars, you can buy a bag that feeds you for weeks. And here's the secret: beans are packed with protein and fiber, exactly what aging muscles crave. They may not seem glamorous, but every scoop of beans delivers the amino acids your muscles need to repair themselves after daily wear and tear. Unlike eggs, which can sometimes raise cholesterol concerns, beans actually help lower cholesterol while building muscle at the same time. I remember a man named George, a retired mechanic from Ohio, who told me he lived most of his life on meat and potatoes. When he hit 72, his doctor warned him his muscle strength was slipping and his blood pressure was climbing. George's wife started serving him chili twice a week, swapping half the meat for beans. Within months, George said he felt steadier on his feet, and his doctor was stunned to see both his cholesterol and his strength improve. That's the power of something as simple as beans. Another food that often gets overlooked is peanut butter. For generations, Americans have spread peanut butter on sandwiches for kids, but it's not just for the young. Peanut butter is rich in protein, healthy fats, and calories that seniors often need to keep energy up. At 70, one of the biggest risks isn't overeating. It's undereating, not getting enough nutrients because appetite fades or meals feel like a chore. A spoonful of peanut butter can add easy, cheap nutrition that keeps muscles fueled. Think about it. One jar costs just a few dollars and lasts weeks. Yet it delivers the building blocks your body needs to keep your legs and arms strong. I once met a woman named Linda, 74 years old, from Texas, who admitted she often skipped breakfast because she didn't feel hungry. Her daughter encouraged her to start with something small, a slice of whole grain bread with peanut butter. Within weeks, Linda noticed she wasn't dragging through the morning anymore, and she felt steadier walking to her garden. That's not coincidence. That's protein and healthy fats quietly rebuilding strength meal after meal. Let's talk about canned tuna. Some people turn up their noses at it, but tuna is one of the cheapest sources of high-quality protein you'll ever find. For a couple of dollars, you get a can loaded with lean protein and omega-3 fatty acids that fight inflammation in the muscles. As Americans age, inflammation becomes one of the hidden enemies, breaking down muscle tissue and slowing recovery. Omega-3s act like a shield, calming inflammation and protecting your muscle fibers. Pair tuna with some crackers, mix it with beans, or toss it on a salad. It doesn't need to be complicated. I think about Harold, 79, a veteran from Kentucky who lived alone and admitted he didn't like cooking. His daughter brought him a stack of canned tuna and showed him how to mix it with mayonnaise and celery for a quick sandwich. Harold laughed, saying it felt like a meal from his childhood. Within a few weeks, he noticed his legs didn't ache as much when he climbed his porch steps. That's the beauty of tuna. It's cheap, it's easy, and it works. Here's another surprising one: oats. Now, I know I just told you to forget eggs, but I'm not saying forget breakfast altogether. Oats may not be protein powerhouses on their own, but combined with milk or yogurt, they deliver a powerful muscle-building breakfast. Oats are loaded with complex carbohydrates that give steady energy throughout the morning. And energy matters, because without it, you won't move as much, and movement is the signal your muscles need to grow. One of the biggest traps seniors fall into is fatigue. They eat a weak breakfast, feel sluggish, sit more, and over time their muscles shrink. A bowl of oats with a scoop of yogurt or a sprinkle of nuts changes that cycle. It gives fuel, protein, and fiber in one cheap package. Susan, a retired teacher in Iowa, told me she switched from sugary cereal to oats with peanut butter stirred in. Not only did she save money, but she noticed her afternoon naps became less frequent because she had more steady energy. It wasn't about eating more. It was about eating smarter. Let's not forget milk. Good old-fashioned American milk is one of the cheapest, most accessible sources of protein and calcium. For seniors, that combination is priceless. Protein to rebuild muscle, calcium to strengthen bones. Together they form the foundation of independence. Without strong muscles and bones, every step feels uncertain. But with them, you walk confidently, you climb stairs without fear, you bend to pick up your grandchild without hesitation. And milk doesn't have to be fancy. A glass at breakfast, poured over oats, or blended into a smoothie. It all works. I once knew a farmer named Robert who joked that he grew up on milk but stopped drinking it in adulthood. When he turned 70 and started feeling his legs weaken, his doctor reminded him of its value. Robert went back to drinking 1 glass of milk a day, and within months he said he felt solid again. Sometimes the simplest foods really are the most powerful. Cabbage is another food that deserves more attention. At first glance, it looks too plain to matter. But cabbage is one of the cheapest vegetables in America, and it's loaded with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that fight the inflammation eating away at aging muscles. Plus, it's versatile. Boil it, saute it, shred it into salads. It fits anywhere. And here's something most people don't realize: cabbage, when paired with protein foods like beans or tuna, enhances digestion and helps your body absorb those nutrients more effectively. That means more of the protein you eat actually goes into your muscles instead of being wasted. A widower in Nebraska named Thomas told me he started making simple cabbage soup after his wife passed because it was cheap and easy. He added beans and a little chicken when he could afford it. Over time, he noticed he had more energy to mow his lawn and walk to church. Cabbage wasn't a miracle, it was fuel. And fuel matters. Finally, let's talk about potatoes. Americans love potatoes, and for good reason. They're cheap, filling, and packed with potassium, a mineral that helps muscles contract properly and prevents cramps. While potatoes alone aren't a muscle-building powerhouse, they're the perfect companion to protein foods. A baked potato with tuna on top, mashed potatoes with beans on the side, roasted potatoes with cabbage soup. It's classic, affordable, and effective. Potatoes keep your energy steady and your muscles functioning. A woman named Margaret, 76, laughed when she told me she thought potatoes were fattening, so she avoided them. When she finally added them back, small portions paired with protein, she felt her legs stop cramping at night. That's potassium at work, making muscles reliable again. So when you step back and look at it, you see a pattern. Beans, peanut butter, tuna, oats, milk, cabbage, potatoes, 7 foods, all cheap, all accessible, all powerful allies in the fight against muscle loss after 70. They're not exotic superfoods or expensive powders. They're everyday American staples, foods our grandparents ate, foods that built strength in generations before us. And the best part is, they don't just build muscle. They also protect your heart, your brain, your bones, and your independence. For a fraction of the cost of supplements or fancy diets, you can stock your kitchen with the tools that rebuild your body from the inside out. This isn't about perfection. It's not about counting grams of protein or tracking every bite. It's about consistency, about making small, practical changes that add up. replacing one meal of empty calories with one of these foods, adding beans to your soup, spreading peanut butter on toast, drinking a glass of milk with dinner. Each choice is a vote for your strength. Each meal is a chance to fight sarcopenia, and every bite you take is an investment in your independence. And here's the key I want you to remember: eggs are good, but they're not the only way. Don't let habit or marketing convince you that you're limited. The American spirit has always been about resourcefulness, about using what's available and making it work. These 7 cheap foods are your resource, your opportunity, your path to strength at 70 and beyond. And if you commit to them, if you weave them into your meals, you'll be amazed at how your body responds, because your body is not finished. It still knows how to rebuild, how to get stronger, how to rise again. You just have to give it the fuel. Now that we've uncovered the 7 cheap foods that can quietly transform your strength after 70, let's take a deeper look at how they actually work inside your body. Because it's one thing to say beans, peanut butter, tuna, oats, milk, cabbage, and potatoes are helpful, and it's another to understand why. Once you know what's happening under the surface, every bite makes more sense, and you feel more motivated to keep going. This isn't about vague advice. It's about real biology, real chemistry, and real results that everyday Americans can experience. Think about beans for a moment. When you eat them, the protein they contain breaks down into amino acids. Those amino acids are like bricks. Your muscles are the walls, and without bricks, those walls crumble. But beans don't just give you bricks. They also come with fiber. That fiber slows down digestion, meaning the amino acids are released steadily, not all at once. Your body uses them more efficiently, repairing muscle throughout the day instead of wasting them. Compare that to a quick sugar snack which burns fast and leaves you empty. Beans fuel you for hours, keeping your muscles fed long after the meal ends. That's why seniors who eat beans regularly often say they don't feel as tired or weak in the afternoons. It's not magic, it's steady nutrition doing its job. Now picture peanut butter. The protein works like beans, but the fats play another role. Healthy fats are energy-dense, and seniors often need that density. As appetite declines with age, it's easy to undereat, and undereating is one of the silent drivers of muscle loss. A small spoonful of peanut butter delivers both protein and enough calories to keep your energy stable. Those calories prevent your body from breaking down muscle for fuel. Think of peanut butter as a protective coat around your muscle fibers. It gives your body the energy to spare muscle instead of cannibalizing it. That's why even a modest addition, toast with peanut butter, an apple with peanut butter, makes such a difference. It's cheap, simple, and effective. Canned tuna works in a slightly different way. It's packed with protein, yes, but it also delivers omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3s reduce chronic inflammation. Inflammation is like rust slowly eating away at metal. Over time, it weakens the structure. In your body, inflammation damages muscle tissue and slows repair. Omega-3s act like an anti-rust spray, protecting the fibers and allowing them to rebuild properly. Studies on older adults show that those who consume more omega-3s maintain muscle mass and strength longer than those who don't. That's why tuna, even in its cheapest canned form, is such a powerful ally. It gives you protein to rebuild and omega-3s to protect. For a couple of dollars a can, you're buying both bricks and rust protection for your body. Oats may seem humble, but their power lies in what they prevent. Oats are high in complex carbohydrates and soluble fiber. That fiber slows down sugar absorption in the bloodstream. Why does that matter for muscles? Because unstable blood sugar leads to energy crashes. When your energy dips, you move less. And when you move less, your muscles shrink. Oats keep blood sugar steady, fueling your muscles with a reliable stream of energy. Pair oats with protein like milk or peanut butter, and you've got a 1-2 punch. Fuel plus building blocks. That's why seniors who start their day with oats often say they can get more done before noon without needing a nap. It's steady energy that keeps muscles active and engaged. Milk combines several forces at once. The protein in milk repairs muscles, the calcium strengthens bones, and the vitamin D helps your body absorb and use both. It's like a team working together. Without vitamin D, calcium just passes through without much effect. Without calcium, bones weaken. Without protein, muscles shrink, but together they create a foundation of strength. And because milk is liquid, it digests quickly, delivering nutrients fast. That's why many athletes drink chocolate milk after workouts. It refuels both muscles and bones efficiently. Seniors can use the same principle. A glass of milk after a walk or light exercise provides the tools your body needs to recover, and recovery is where growth happens. Cabbage adds another layer. While not high in protein, it provides antioxidants and vitamins that protect muscle cells from damage. Every day, your muscles face oxidative stress, tiny attacks from unstable molecules called free radicals. Left unchecked, these weaken cells and slow repair. Cabbage is rich in compounds that neutralize those free radicals, protecting your muscle fibers so they can focus on rebuilding. Think of cabbage as the shield bearer. It doesn't build the walls, but it stands guard while the bricks are laid. Combined with protein foods, it creates a powerful environment for growth. And because cabbage is so cheap, it's one of the most cost-effective shields you can buy. Potatoes close the circle by providing potassium. Potassium balances sodium in your body, regulates fluid levels, and ensures muscles contract properly. Without enough potassium, muscles cramp, spasm, and tire quickly. Seniors often suffer nighttime leg cramps because of low potassium. Adding potatoes provides a steady supply, preventing cramps and keeping muscles responsive. And when muscles contract efficiently, movement feels easier. That ease encourages more activity, and more activity feeds back into stronger muscles. Potatoes may be humble, but they are essential for keeping the engine running smoothly. Now, let's connect this to real life. Many American seniors live on fixed incomes. They worry about rising grocery prices, medical bills, and limited budgets. The beauty of these 7 foods is that they're cheap. A bag of beans for a few dollars can provide meals for weeks. A jar of peanut butter costs less than a single fast food lunch but fuels days of energy. Canned tuna is often $1 or $2, far less than fresh fish, but still delivering the same benefits. Oats, milk, cabbage, potatoes, these are not luxuries. They're everyday staples, and they stretch every dollar. That's why this strategy works so well for Americans. It's practical, affordable, and sustainable. But there's another reason this approach matters. Too often, seniors are told they need expensive supplements or specialty foods to stay strong. Ads push powders, shakes, pills, and exotic superfoods that cost far more than they're worth. It creates a sense of hopelessness, as if staying strong after 70 is only for the wealthy. That's simply not true. Our grandparents and great-grandparents stayed strong on farm foods, garden vegetables, and pantry staples. They didn't need powders. They needed beans, milk, potatoes, and cabbage. That same wisdom still applies. By focusing on these affordable foods, you reclaim control. You say no to marketing gimmicks and yes to the foods that built America strong in the first place. I met a couple in Nebraska, both in their late 70s, who told me they felt left out by all the expensive health advice online. They couldn't afford fancy protein powders or organic specialty items. But when they shifted to these 7 foods, everything changed. They started eating bean soups, peanut butter toast, tuna sandwiches, oats with milk, cabbage stews, and potatoes as sides. Within months, both noticed they felt steadier on their feet, less tired, and more confident. Their doctor remarked that their muscle strength had improved. They laughed, saying, "We're eating like farmers again." That's exactly the point. Cheap foods, American staples, real results. Another key is routine. Eating these foods once in a while won't do much. Muscle needs consistent building blocks. Just like you can't build a house by delivering bricks once a month, you can't rebuild muscle by eating protein occasionally. The key is steady supply. Every meal should have some element of these foods. Breakfast with oats and milk. Lunch with tuna or beans. Dinner with potatoes and cabbage on the side. Peanut butter as a snack. Small, consistent choices that add up to big changes over time. Within weeks, you'll notice more energy. Within months, you'll feel stronger. Within a year, you'll look back and realize you've reclaimed strength you thought was gone forever. And let's not forget the emotional side. Weakness doesn't just affect the body, it affects the mind. Seniors who feel weak often feel discouraged, anxious, even depressed. They fear losing independence, becoming a burden, or ending up in a nursing home. But when you feel strong, when you notice your legs carrying you upstairs, when you carry groceries without struggling, when you rise from a chair with confidence, you feel hope. That hope feeds your spirit, and your spirit feeds your determination. Food is not just fuel, it's empowerment. And empowerment is what keeps Americans proud, independent, and free. So as you stand in your kitchen, looking at your grocery list, remember this: eggs are not the only answer. In fact, for many seniors, eggs are too expensive, too repetitive, or not well tolerated. But that doesn't mean the story is over. These 7 foods are waiting, cheap and powerful. Beans that fuel steady repair. Peanut butter that protects muscles with energy, dense protein. Tuna that shields with omega-3s, oats that stabilize energy, milk that strengthens bones and muscles together, cabbage that guards cells from damage, potatoes that keep muscles contracting smoothly. Each one simple, each one affordable, each one a step toward strength at 70 and beyond. This is not theory. This is not complicated. It's practical, American, and real. If you commit to these foods day after day, meal after meal, you'll be amazed at what your body can still do. Because your body is not finished. It still has the power to rebuild. And with these tools, it will. Let's bring everything together now. You've seen the 7 cheap foods that can protect and rebuild your strength even after 70, and you've seen the science behind why they work. But knowing isn't the same as living it. This final part is about turning knowledge into action, about weaving these foods into your daily American life in a way that feels natural, affordable, and sustainable. Because if it doesn't fit your life, you won't keep doing it. And the truth is, consistency is where the magic happens. Think about your average American day. You wake up, maybe make some coffee, maybe toast, maybe nothing at all. What if, instead, you started with a small bowl of oats cooked in milk, topped with a spoonful of peanut butter? That single bowl covers protein, carbs, fats, fiber, and energy. It costs pennies, fills you up, and starts your muscles on the right track. Add a side of sliced banana or apple if you like, but the foundation, the oats, the milk, the peanut butter, is already rebuilding you. Breakfast sets the tone, and with that kind of start, you'll feel steadier all morning. Lunch can be just as simple. A tuna sandwich on whole, grain bread, maybe with a slice of tomato or some shredded cabbage mixed in for crunch. Again, it's not fancy, it's not expensive. But that sandwich delivers protein, omega-3s, vitamins, and antioxidants. It fuels your muscles, calms inflammation, and steadies energy. For just a few dollars, you've bought yourself strength and protection. And if you're cooking for 2, a single can of tuna stretches even further. That's the beauty of these foods. They stretch every dollar while stretching your health span too. Dinner is where potatoes and cabbage shine. Imagine a simple American plate: roasted potatoes with a drizzle of olive oil, a side of sautéed cabbage with garlic, and beans seasoned the way you like. Maybe add a small piece of chicken or pork if your budget allows, but even without it, the beans, cabbage, and potatoes carry the load. They fuel you with protein, potassium, fiber, and antioxidants. They calm your muscles, feed your cells, and leave you satisfied. And because these foods are filling, you're less likely to reach for empty snacks later. Now let's talk about snacks, because this is where many people go off track. Chips, cookies, sodas. They're cheap in the short term, but costly in the long term. A better choice is right in front of you: a spoonful of peanut butter, a cup of milk, or even leftover beans turned into a dip with a few crackers. These small shifts keep your muscles fed without draining your wallet, and they prevent the cycle of energy crashes that leave you too tired to move. Movement and food feed each other. Eat better and you move more. Move more and you crave better. That's how the cycle of strength builds itself. I met a man named Howard in Oklahoma, 73 years old, who admitted he was living on chips, soda, and takeout most days because he thought real food was too expensive. His daughter sat down with him and showed him how to cook beans, oats, and potatoes. Within a few weeks, his grocery bill dropped, but his energy rose. He said he could carry his laundry upstairs without resting, something he hadn't done in years. That's the ripple effect. Cheap foods fuel strength, strength fuels independence, and independence fuels pride. That pride keeps you going. Another woman, Ruth from Ohio, told me she had given up on cooking because she lived alone. She thought it wasn't worth the effort, but she decided to try making a big pot of bean soup with cabbage and potatoes. She froze portions and reheated them throughout the week. Not only did she feel stronger, but she said cooking gave her purpose again. She looked forward to meals instead of dreading them. And when she noticed her balance improving and her muscles firming, she said she felt like she had bought back time. That's what this is really about. Buying back time with foods that cost less than a fast food combo. The American spirit is about independence, resilience, and making the most of what we have. These 7 foods are not exotic imports. They're not luxury items. They're the foods our parents and grandparents thrived on. They fed families through hard times, wars, and recessions. They built the muscle that built this country. And they're still here waiting to build you back up. Every time you choose beans over chips, tuna over processed lunch meat, oats over sugary cereal, you're voting for strength. You're voting for independence. You're voting for life. Now, let's be real. Change is never easy. Old habits pull hard. You might crave the comfort of your old breakfast or the convenience of fast food. But every time you choose differently, you prove to yourself that you're still in control. You're not too old. You're not too late. Your body may be older, but it is not finished. Muscles respond at 70 just like they did at 30. Give them protein, energy, and protection, and they will grow. Maybe slower, maybe with more patience, but they will grow. Here's the vision I want you to hold on to. Imagine 6 months from now. You wake up and pour a bowl of oats with milk. You spread peanut butter on toast. You pack a tuna sandwich for lunch. Dinner is beans, cabbage, and potatoes. Day after day, week after week, you stay consistent. At first, the changes are small. You notice you don't nap as much. You don't cramp as often. Your energy feels steadier. Then the bigger changes come. You stand up without pushing off the chair. You climb stairs without resting. You carry groceries without shaking. Then the biggest change. You realize you're not afraid of falling anymore. You're not afraid of weakness. You're living again, not just surviving. That's the future waiting for you if you commit to these 7 foods. And here's the final truth. Muscle is not just about strength. It's about freedom. It's about the freedom to live on your own terms, to walk your neighborhood, to play with your grandchildren, to travel, to laugh, to work on projects, to do the things that make life worth living. Weakness steals that freedom. Strength gives it back. And strength starts on your plate. So here's my challenge to you. Starting tomorrow, add one of these foods to every meal. Oats and milk in the morning, peanut butter at lunch, beans or tuna at dinner, cabbage and potatoes on the side. Do this for 30 days, just 30 days. Watch how your body feels. Notice the energy, notice the steadiness, notice the confidence. And then don't stop. Keep going, keep building, keep reclaiming your independence one cheap, powerful meal at a time. And before we close, let me say this. Your best years are not behind you. They are ahead, waiting for you to step into them. You are not powerless. You are not finished. With knowledge, with consistency, with these 7 foods, you can fight sarcopenia, rebuild muscle, and live proud. That's why I make these videos, to give you tools, hope, and action steps that work in real American lives. So if this message resonated with you, don't stop here. Subscribe, join this community, and come back every week. Together we'll uncover more foods, more strategies, and more secrets that help you stay strong, independent, and alive. Because this isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. And you deserve that. So remember this, forget eggs. They're not the only way to build muscle. You have 7 cheap, powerful allies waiting for you at the grocery store. Beans, peanut butter, tuna, oats, milk, cabbage, and potatoes. Use them, trust them, and let them build you stronger at 70 than you ever thought possible. And then come back here, because I'll be waiting with the next step, the next strategy, the next way to make sure your best years are still ahead.